Hello, Penguinauds! Welcome to the 10-year anniversary stream. Only 4 minutes late, although, as Karnasa has pointed out so accurately in the chat, something Gandalf, a wizard, is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. I wish I could claim the same, but I am just terrible at starting streams on time, as those of you who join me regularly will know. Hello, everyone. We've got a few people in chat. We've got a few regulars. We've got Corsaro, we've got Simone, we got a bunch of different people. We've got Kivrix as well. So what I thought we would do today is have a little walk down memory lane. And this is going to become a video, which will go out either later today or tomorrow as well. So say hello to future people if you would like to. So this isn't your typical kind of stream. It's going to be a bit of a live Q&A, part walking down memory lane, part talking about the channel. Because, as mentioned, it is 10 years since my first video. Now, I know some of you are immediately going to do the classic, let's put the glasses on. Actually, Beardy, you created your channel, if I can find the about, longer ago, in the beginning, end of 2012, so therefore this is actually your 13-year-ish anniversary. And you would be somewhat right. But the reason why I'm deciding this as my 10-year anniversary is because it's 10 years since Collaborative Warfare, which really is the start of me making YouTube videos in the way that I do now, to an extent. Because it's actually more difficult for me to slap an exact 10-year anniversary than you might think. I started making YouTube videos when I was 6. All the way back in 2006, back when YouTube still had the 4:3 ratio, it had the 5-star rating system. Do not cite the 5-star rating system to me, chat. I was there when it was written. So I used to make pivot animations and little videos on Spore. No voiceover, of course, just absolutely spammed with annotations all over the screen. You know, quality 2006 content. Had the little pop-up that said, "Oh, watch it in HD," and there was just an HD button. No 720p, 1080 or higher. No, there was just an HD or not HD. Good old YouTube. And that was on a different channel, and I had a couple of different channels, and really just messed about. And before Collaborative Warfare, that's all this channel was. This was, funnily enough, my Minecraft username. That was Bearded Penguin. Bearded Penguin was already taken, hence Beardy Penguin it was. And it was mainly just me messing about. I was always interested in photography, and then that morphed into an interest in filmmaking and video editing. It was just my own entertainment. It wasn't really meant to be anything anyone watched. I made some very low effort little Halo videos back on Halo Reach 2011. And I used to basically just throw things up here unlisted just so me and my friends could watch them. The first time I really did anything public was I did a little series, and we will have a little look at it in a bit, called KSP Interstellar. In fact, you know what? We'll have a little look at it now. Let me grab my YouTube studio, and we're going to go back in time to Squeaky Beardy. I think I can... Here we go. Let's have a little look. I am searching, but I'm not showing you my YouTube creator page because that probably wouldn't be the brightest of ideas. I will drag it over once I find what I'm looking for. Yeah, here we go. I wonder if the playlist still exists, actually. The playlist itself might just be private. Let's have a look at my channel. You're gonna get jump scared by Trailer Beardy in a second. Here we go. Okay, playlists. Does that exist still? No, I deleted the playlist. Ah, darn. Okay. We'll have a little look. So this was made all the way back. Let's view it on YouTube. Here we go. Oh, crikey, old intro. Oh, okay. Here we are. So we'll swap it over to a different view. There we go. So you can see a bit better with the video. Perfect time for a sneak peek. So yeah, this was the first time I ever... Oh, we got a little donation. Kiverix, thank you. Cheers to 10 years celebrating with 15 euros 69 cents. Well, thank you very much, Kiverix. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. So this was made all the way back in 2014, September 2014, actually. So this is going on 11 years ago, but it's not public anymore because, aforementioned Squeaky Beardy. There were some comments. This was really me figuring out how to make YouTube videos and how to make KSP videos mainly. So I'd got into KSP, been into it since I was maybe 12, 13. Whenever the 0.018 update came out in KSP, that's about when I got it. Let's have a little look. 0.18 update KSP. When was that? When did that come out? Here we go. Let's look at the wiki. Version history. December 2012. It's about when I made my channel, actually. So figures. So that's when I started playing KSP, and then about 2 years later, I started making videos on it. So I thought, hey, I discovered a mod at the time, which was... I've forgotten what it was called. Do I even have a mod list? I don't even have a mod list in the description. But whatever it was, it added some new solar systems, and the IXS Enterprise mod had just come out, and I got really excited about it. And so here we are. So I started it leaving... You're going to notice some similar themes here. Leaving a Kerbal that's expanding, so Kerbal's trying to find a new home. I resurrected that premise later, which is why this series is all unlisted. Not helped by the fact that it's also not very good. But you see me using the warp drive there. The Alcubierre drive with the trail bugged. It's supposed to be like a rainbow trail, and it didn't work. But I didn't have any idea what I was doing back then. But here we go. This is me heading to a different solar system. So this was me sort of figuring out how to video edit for the first time, how to record KSP, how to do voiceover, etc. It wasn't very good, but you've got to start somewhere. And so I sort of took all the lessons learned from doing that, sort of learning to walk. And then I was like, right, okay, let's make a new series with a different premise, and let's actually get some other people involved. So I'll spare you from listening to... Okay, should we have a brief listen to Squeaky Beardy? Do people want a brief Squeaky Beardy? Let's see how squeaky I am.
Our courses for uranium, and we'll find out how to slow down. There'll probably be some error braking involved.
I'm not that squeaky, actually, am I? Actually, fine. I will show you some super old stuff later from when I was a kid, perhaps. Making Halo videos with a camcorder pointing at a screen. I'm not kidding. It was that low budget. Anyway, enough of that. So, collaborative warfare. How did that come about? You sound exactly the same. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, 14-year-old Beardy doesn't sound that different, really. It's probably why I started recording my voice then. I didn't record my voice previously. I think because I listened back to it and it was ultrasonic. It's probably why I was less shy about doing voiceover at that point. But then I actually had my tonsils removed. Oh, hello! We've got another donation. Xena has launched £7.43 at the stream. Thank you very much. Congrats on 10 years. Wouldn't be going to college for what I'm doing if it wasn't for you. My night shift brain needs to go to sleep, though. Okay, well, good night, Xena. Thank you very much for donating. And I'm really happy that the random stuff that I make managed to inspire people to, I assume, go into aerospace engineering or spacecraft engineering like I did. So awesome. Thank you very much for the donation. So, as I was saying, I actually had my tonsils taken out. So I was ill for 2 weeks. And that was when I first got Reddit as well. Because I ran out of YouTube. I was so bored. And this was in 2015. So I had 2 weeks. And those who haven't had their tonsils out a little later on in life, sort of mid-teens or later, it makes you really ill. Like, I thought I'd just have a sore throat. But no, like, you're completely out of action for about 2 weeks. I was basically bedbound. So all I did was just watch Netflix, watch YouTube. That's when I first got Netflix as well. So I was just running out of things to do. And so I suddenly had a little idea. Now, I used to watch a YouTuber called... Actually, we are just going to use this tab here. Called Macy Dean. right? And it's weird to me that I have more subscribers than Macy now. We'll swap the monitor back over. No, that's the wrong one. We wanted that one. So it remains my favorite KSP YouTuber of all time. I really loved a lot of the stuff that Macy did. And Macy did warfare stuff, but he did it entirely in stock. So I was a huge, huge fan of everything Macy was doing. He was somewhat still active at this time. And there was another YouTuber that you may have heard of. Oh, no, there's just... That's not the right... World War K. Here we go. You may have heard of called Enter Elysium. And it was this specific video... Oh, no, maybe it was World War K2. Oh, no, it was this one. Dogfight. That blew my mind. And you'll see this came out just a little before. So I saw this video and it blew my mind. He was using Beardy Armory and it had AI pilots for enemy aircraft that he could dogfight with. And you could have automated defenses. This was my first exposure to Beardy Armory. Blew my mind. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. I want to do something with that. I'd only ever played really stock or stock-alike. Stock with the Interstellar mod and an Interstellar thing, but that was it. I'd never really done much else with mods before. And I thought, okay, Beardy Armory, I got to have that. And then a little YouTuber called Scott Manley made a little video. Kerbal Space program, more launch sites. Which you'll notice was also made not much earlier. And that suddenly exposed me to Kerbin side, which adds multiple bases. And in my extremely painkiller adult brain, this little melting pot, I suddenly thought, what if I combine these two things? What if we take the multiple bases and Beardy Armory with automated defenses and AI fighter pilots and stuff, and you could actually do some kind of turn-based war thing. And it also combined with the fact that I maybe had about 500 subs at this point, and I wanted to grow the channel, wanted to put some effort into it for the first time and actually try and grow it, which meant collaboration. And if you want to know how to grow on YouTube, it's just collaboration. Unless you get really lucky, collaborate with people. It increases your reach. Particularly if you're doing a collaborative series, it just means you have more opportunities for people to see your series, get sucked in, etc. Lyris, I completely forgot about Macy Dean. Sending me right back to my childhood. Hello, Scott Manley here. Yes, surprise Scott Manley jump scare here. I don't know what other mods he's using here. I think it's a stall detector from FAR. I think it was just Scott messing around with a bunch of mods, but what blew my mind was the multiple bases. So, while I had literally nothing better to do, I took to Reddit. I can probably find the post I made, actually. I'm going to have a little look for it now. Took to Reddit, and I also took to YouTube. And I literally searched for Kerbal Space Program. And I went to like page 100. And then I just looked for YouTubers that were a similar-ish size to me. I knew if I asked someone like Macy, asked someone like Scott Manley or Enter Elysium if they wanted to collab with me, a 15-year-old kid with 500 subs, they would obviously not give me the time of day. And fair enough. I wouldn't expect them to. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, I didn't realize how much I used to post on Reddit. I actually deleted it 2 years ago as a New Year's resolution. I used to be an absolute addict. Let's scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. I'm not going to show you all of my other cringe memes and things I used to post on Reddit. Here we go. Here we go. Found it. Wanted KSP YouTubers. Let's bring this one over. Here it is. Okay, so made this post. Hi, I'm KSP. Okay, I had 600 subscribers apparently. I have a collab idea. So the two other YouTubers interested were people I'd reached out to through YouTube. I just left comments on, it must have been like 100 odd YouTubers. I had nothing better to do. I just said, hey, I've got this idea. what if we all had a bunch of bases, we made automated defenses and fighters and stuff, and we had a war. We tried to take each other's bases, made it into a turn-based war game, but being able to create your own craft, etc. Vast majority didn't reply, as you'd expect. But I got a few bites on Reddit as well. I think this might... Yep, here we go, there's Agonarch. So we got Agonarch off of Reddit. I'm trying to think who else we got off of Reddit. I think it might have just been Agonarch that we got off of there. Because we ended up with a motley little lineup of Tape Gaming, Twitchy, Space Game Junkie, Agonarch, and then myself. So we had 5 of us, which is a nice round number. And just getting 5 together was a nightmare. We had a Skype group, which gives you a taste of the era, and we got to work. So a lot of people asked me why I had Agonarch. Not Agonarch. A lot of people asked me why I let Space Game Junkie join. Because he was terrible at Kerbal Space Program. He lasted maybe 3 turns in collaborative warfare before getting absolutely annihilated. He never even attacked anyone because he kept flying his planes into the ground. And the answer is he was the biggest YouTuber by far. He had about 10,000 subs at the time. So when he was interested in joining, I wasn't going to say no. And I obviously had no idea how good he was at KSP. I just saw that he played it and he was a big YouTuber compared to me at the time. But the real find was Tape Gaming, obviously, because he was extremely passionate about it. Now, he was really skeptical at first, and we'll head over to Tape. This is going to be a long walk down memory lane, as I said to you guys. We'll head on over to Tape. Here we go. So he was really skeptical at first. He's like, okay, kid with 600 subscribers, am I interested? And then I explained the pitch to him, and he was like, oh, I'm in. And he had about 5,000 subs at the time. He's still got the flag. That's good fun. So he had about 5,000 subs, and so it was a big deal, him deciding that he was down. And I think I owe basically my channel existing to the fact that Tape wanted to join in. Now let's see if we can fast forward here, because I think he got most of his views, initial views, from Beardy Armory dogfights specifically. So he had experience with Beardy Armory, he knew how to design fighter jets, and that was a lot of his audience already. You can see the comparison in views. Like, these were the videos that I found him through. And so I basically thought he was perfect. I was like, if we can get this guy to be interested, then we'll be cooking. And let's see, when did he start? It can't be too much later than this. More Solar Systems mod, that was the one I used. There we go. Little Beardy Armory videos. See, these are the ones that did well. And so, Shoot Down the Bomber, I remember that one. Ah, come on. Where is it? It can't be far off. Kerbal Wars. You can see the theme? And then here we go. Collaborative Warfare. This is the start. So that's the second one. Where's his first one? Ah, here we go. This was the announcement. Collaborative Warfare trailer. Let's have a little look. Am I going to get a blast of nostalgia?
Hey guys,
this is
KSP.
Oh no, he didn't say hey guys, this is KSP with Tape. Ah, I was expecting to imitate him. Anyway, so I managed to get him interested, and there we go, we were off. Learned a lot from doing collaborative warfare. Did you watch Devil Dog Gamer's KSP War series? Ah, is that the one with the cinematics? Let's have a look. Devil Dog Gamer KSP War. I did not watch that. No. I did not. Probably because he was doing this stuff, apparently about the same time. Okay, I wasn't aware of his channel. Anyway. So we were off, and that is basically when I started my channel, and I was blown away because this was basically the first time I was really putting any effort into anything. And as you can see, The first episode of that is still my most watched video of all time. I have met people in real life who have seen this video. And it's a little embarrassing because obviously being so early, I don't think this video is all that great, really. It was something about the thumbnail. I used one of the Kerbin side bases, which was a ship, which I controlled as a thumbnail, and people thought that I was actually using this ship or I built that ship. Whatever it is, apparently, looking at it now, this is a terrible thumbnail. But just the shot of that ship in KSP seems to just lure people in. As you can see, this video did extremely well. And for me, basically, this video exploded. And the fact that we released all of our videos at once, so you had 5 different channels all pointing towards this one first video, it had really big reach compared to any previous stuff I'd done. Just going to silence the unlicensed 2 Steps from Hell music there.
Hello, Penguinauts! I am the Beardy Penguin, and
oh, listen to the microphone quality.
welcome to Kerbal Space Program Collaborative Warfare.
Yeah. Terrible microphone, Beardy. I didn't even oh, we even got the visual glitches because this was from my buggy editing software. Sometimes it would put like visual glitches and stuff into the videos. This video is still my most watched video of all time. I heard you liked editing. Look at this map. And this is me going over all of my bases and everything, and you know, as explained in the video, just me, video title, just me setting up my automated defenses. Didn't actually do anything in this video. Didn't go to war, didn't blow anything up, and this is my most viewed video of all time. And I just threw something together with some tracks and some guns on it, and just slapped these all over the place. Really, this is just announcing the series. Nothing interesting happens in this video. I believe I launched a communications satellite first. Yeah, because it's in an equatorial orbit. Covered it in weapon systems, and there you go. This is still my most watched video of all time, of just explaining what we were doing. What are some of the comments? Bahimuto himself actually commented on this. Let's bump the view over. Mentioning that I don't think I quite reached orbit with my satellite. And so Bahimuto himself is like, hey, you could use the gun's actual recoil to get up into orbit. Bahimuto himself actually commented, wow, amazing. Communication satellite, he says, looks more like a limited orbital strike platform. Just finished Fall of Kerbin, time to binge watch all of this and then Kerbal Rising. See, people still go watch this. People still, I mean, this video... Damn, I miss this shitty mic. I don't know how anyone could miss it, but... memories. People still go back and rewatch this. I think it was just the premise that sort of roped people in. It was a cool idea, and we did have some fun. Let me grab the playlist. I'm just gonna grab the playlist on my other screen so you don't see all of my other playlists. Trying to like search for things live is live on stream without trying to... Here we go. So here we go. Off we went. And immediately I got exposed to the more, let's say, unfriendly side of YouTube for the first time ever. That being that, yeah, people want more, and they want it now. I want it now. So, yeah, that was when I started first getting my make more videos, make them faster, we want them now, gib. Such comments. I'm just messing with my lighting. Here we go. So that was when I first started getting those kind of comments. I didn't respond to them very well at the time. I got really, really sarcastic with my audience, which I really didn't need to be. I was a bit of an asshole, honestly, when I was 15. I was really cynical and sarcastic just because of life. And so when I got irritating comments, like I was unnecessarily savage in my replies to the comments. I think I've deleted a lot of those comment replies since. But I think it was just the shock of suddenly having so many comments and thinking I had to reply to all of them and pay all of them attention. But it was a lot of fun. As you can see, Space Game Junkie did not get very far. I think turn 4 broken, and I think, yeah, there we go. Turn 5, I think that was his last turn. Yeah, that was it. He had 5 turns. He was gone. My favorite episodes were actually always Twitchy's ones, because even though they had, I mean, he's even got a typo in the thumbnail. They definitely had the worst thumbnails. They were by far the best edited. Like, they were so well done. I didn't know Twitchy really. He was the big unknown, and then his videos were always my favorite ones. I don't know, they were some of the worst performing ones, but they were always hilarious. He'd have little cutaways to his little nation where he's executing traitors and doing mass executions and doing, like, playing propaganda from his little nation and stuff. He really, really lent into it. My videos were a little bit more straightforward, as were Tape's, but we had, of course, like, our rivalry going, and so we were, of course, the first ones to go to war and start blowing each other up. But yeah, it really didn't go that long. When was the last episode? So between episodes, Pantomas, what game do you play? What do you mean, what game do I play? I'm not playing a game at the moment. We're just looking at old videos. This is a anniversary stream. We're just going through old videos and talking through the history of the channel. Yeah, Mark has just said, "Where's my video, Beardy re?" Imagine that. Like, that was me being a lot more patient, let's say, than I used to be. I used to say, "Shut up," to my audience and stuff. Let's have a look. When was the last? How long did Collaborative Warfare last? I think it was only a year. It was exactly a year, pretty much, when Tape took the ice cap, and then it ended. So what did I learn from this? So the main thing I learned was making collaborative stuff with people you don't know is really hard. And the model of collaborative warfare made things take ages to make. So let me just pull up one of these videos. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, here we go. This one. This one's got a classic moment in it. We'll get to it. So what did we learn? To start with, we had, like, very basic rules of, like, you can launch 1 ground unit, 1 air unit. And that meant that units were so precious that we never did anything risky. We'd never, like, fly in with multiple things at once. You didn't have, like, big battles. You didn't, you know, it was more of us being so precious with our units and just doing, like, long range bombing runs and just firing at stuff from out of range and not risking our precious aircraft. And we found that that wasn't so entertaining to watch, right? And another thing is that we couldn't do our turns at once. We were using one save file, so you'd have to do your turn and then usually wait for their video to come out. And then once their video had come out, and then you could start making your own. So, you know, by the time someone recorded something, made the video, etc., that's 2 weeks to potentially even a month before the next person along would even start. And you've got 5 people. So the spaces between a single turn for one person were just getting ridiculously long. The series ended because Agonarch ended up having a kid. And then we were just like, okay, this is just not going to work anymore. You are about to have negative free time. And so, you know, it was only 15 turns, is it? Something like that. If you just duplicate that tab and head on back. 14 turns. 15 turns because Tape named his videos weirdly. That was as far as we got. Shift it back over again. Here we go. And so we learned from that, well, okay, maybe having 5 people in a warfare thing isn't such a great idea. Second, the whole 1 unit thing, like making us so precious with our units that we didn't do cool stuff. We couldn't have massive battles. And also having no rules as to what you could launch. There was no difference between launching a little biplane and launching a giant strategic bomber or a single fighter. And it's like, well, surely a bomber is worth a lot more than, multiple fighters, etc. Really we should have more stringent rules on you can launch multiple things and multiple things of certain types, and those should have certain restrictions, because there was no limit on the weapons. Like, the number of weapons you could slap onto something, which meant that as the series went on, we just had more and more ridiculous stuff, which I guess was part of its charm. It was just us messing about and blowing each other up. And it was the only series of its kind. But we learned a lot making it. And namely, myself and Tape learned a lot about how we would do things differently. There is one incredible moment in this video, which if I ever feel down, I still go back and rewatch. And I'm just going to play that for you now.
The first thing I'm going to do is launch a new spy satellite, because my other one mysteriously went missing after Beardy Penguin flew near it. And maybe it was in his cargo bay after he'd done. Yes, he literally stole my spy satellite. He flew up, got a claw, grabbed my spy satellite, and put it inside his fucking cargo bay. He robbed me. He literally robbed me. He didn't go up there and destroy it or anything. He literally robbed me.
Oh, that never gets old. I miss you, Peter. He robbed me. Classic. Absolute classic. I did a best of Clubs of Warfare video, which has got that in. And just, Tape was so funny. Honestly, I think a big part of Clubs of Warfare's success was just how funny Tape was. I think I've always been the ideas guy, and I think I put a lot more effort into my editing. I did cinematic stuff. So my video style was quite different to Tape. It was quite similar at the start, and it differed with time. I've always been a little bit more artistic, a bit more of a perfectionist. I was always the ideas person, setting things up, creating the rules, etc. But I was never, and I'm still not, as entertaining as Peter was. Peter was so funny. He could make anything entertaining. I used to love his City Skylines videos, and those were very popular as well. He sort of had two audiences for City Skylines and for KSP. I just noticed we actually had Loun drop into the chat. Hello, Loun. Wasn't your 10-year anniversary earlier this year? It was actually today this week. It was technically yesterday. So if we have a little look at this video, this came out 10 years ago yesterday. But I wasn't very well yesterday, so we're doing this stream today. But, technically it's the day after that it's been 10 years since, right? So we'll just say that today is the anniversary. It's the anniversary stream. Besides, I mean, it wouldn't be a Beardy stream if it was on time anyway. Anyway, so me and Tape had a really good time, and we were really passionate about it, and we wanted to be making more. The other guys weren't as reliable with the videos, particularly Agonarch. I mean, he was the only one out of all of us, I think, who was a real adult with a real job and a partner, and then later children. And so after a while, it became pretty clear that, we weren't going to be able to make these turns and do these videos as often as we wanted to. So while we were waiting for Agonarch to... I need to head back to... Here we go. While we were waiting for Agonarch to create his next episode, you can see we did some other shenanigans and stuff, playing War Thunder, etc. Myself and Tape decided we were going to do another little series together. So this is where we did Space Race. And you'll notice, similar to how Interstellar that I mentioned earlier has a lot in common with things that came later, Space Race was the two of us, myself and Tape, doing a competitive career mode. Now this was in stock. We had very few mods, just some life support, basic quality of life mods, etc. But this was myself and Tape in different save files for the first time. We'd been passing a single save around in Clubs of Warfare and splicing our craft into each other's save files. However, we didn't, and this was the crucial lesson we learned from this, we didn't use Kerbal construction time. So what we did instead was we did it turn-based, the same way Clubs of Warfare worked. That was the big mistake. We did it turn-based, and we had a limit based on the different launch pad sizes and the different space plane hangar and runway sizes on like how many vessels you could launch per turn. And that worked really weirdly with like transfer windows. Sometimes a turn would last like multiple in-game years, sometimes just a couple days. There was no construction time, nada. I think we even did an in-game month at a time to start with. And again, like sometimes you'd have things arrive at other planets inside someone else's turn, but you couldn't launch anything till the next month. And we had some life support stuff, and if you wanted to do collaborative stuff, like you had to have enough life support for a month. It worked really weirdly. And we were also not very good at splicing stuff across saves. So we ended up breaking our save files. Look at old pre-visual mod KSP, crikey. I always thought your channel was slightly older than mine, but 10-year anniversary is this April. Also, Senpai noticed me. So, you know, there's actually a little thing I want to draw attention to. It was around this time I had my first comment. I think it's on this one. Maybe it wasn't this episode. It was one of these. Maybe it's this one. We'll try some of these. Dooba. Not that one. Not this one. Is it this one? Come on, surely it's this one. Ah, come on. Where was it? One of these videos. It was one of these Space Engineers videos. I got a comment from a little known YouTuber called Matt Lown. I could have sworn it was one of these. I got my first comment. I remember it being around this time. Maybe it was the trailer. No, we've already tried the first episode, haven't we? Is it the trailer? There he is! We found him, Matt Lown, 9 years ago. Can I join? Like, can you do it all for me and I'll take the credit? So that was a joke from, I think, a Q&A I did, where, again, I was a bit of an asshole when I was 15. And so I made fun of someone who admittedly did make a very dumb comment of, hey, can I join Collaborative Warfare, but I can't be bothered to make the videos or download the mods. Can you just, like, make the videos for me? But I'll be part of it. I'll get to take part. Because a lot of people looked at it and thought that it was fun. Collaborative Warfare wasn't really fun to play, honestly. Like, we didn't have any system for, like, moving units around. Like, sometimes it would take multiple hours to fly across the world to do a bombing run and stuff. Like, it wasn't really fun to make. And even to this day, like, I think people underestimate the ridiculous amount of time it takes to make the sort of projects that I do. But yeah, here's... What did I say? Here we go. So I was subscribed to Matt since his Eve submarine video, which I know you did your 10-year anniversary thing on recently, Matt. So I was already subscribed to you when you left this comment, but I'm pretty sure this was the first time you commented on my channel. I remember recognizing the comment, like, oh, that's the guy with the submarine video, when you did music videos and stuff. Ah. Where did that... There was no Matt Lown cameo. You offered to cameo in one of these videos, man. Ah, back when we had a similar number of subscribers. But there we go. Little Matt Lown cameo, 9 years ago. So I think that was when we first got in touch, and then the KSP Skype group came not long after this. But I digress. So, as I said, Agonach, we didn't have time to do it anymore. We did this little space race series, but after having a little bit of fun, it didn't work. We broke the save file, so even though I sent a mission to Dres that never arrived, we ended up just being like, the save file's too unstable. And while we were talking, like working on this series together, we started chatting, hey, what if we did a new war series, just the two of us, since we're the only ones to get our turns done reliably and on time, but the only ones with free time, really. Why don't we do another war series, but we have elements of this space race series? We have tech progression, we have more units we can launch with rules on them. As I said, we had rules as to like how many rockets you could launch of a certain size, etc. Why don't we apply that to a war series instead? And so something that, you know, you have sort of people join the channel in eras. people join at the start of the collaborative warfare era. That's the most common one. And then the next most common one I find is Fall of Kerbin era. So Fall of Kerbin. So whereas collaborative warfare was a bit of a mess, it was fun, but as I say, it was a mess. It didn't come out very often. It was really just kind of silly. There weren't really enough rules constraining what we were doing, so it just kind of devolved into, as I said, just flying into an airspace, shooting some missiles and flying out again. And that was like the main criticism we had of the series, is that was like 90% of it. So we said, hey, what if we don't have missiles? What if we start with biplanes? What if we start in World War One? So here we are, Fall of Kerbin. Just the two of us. We divided up a smaller section of the planet. So it was Cruola and Carthenia. And they're in a small little section of the planet, and we decided that you could move your land units a certain distance each turn without having to manually drive them. You could move your ocean units a certain distance each turn as well, and you could launch some naval units, some air units, and some ground units every single turn. You could launch either 5 fighters, 3 attackers, or 1 bomber. And it ended up being really pretty well balanced. And we ended up with some really pretty fun stuff. I think this episode starts with, my whole little squadron taking off here. And the first sort of era, as it is with a lot of these sort of series, was just figuring out how to do things. By the time... I should really be opening these in new tabs, shouldn't I? Instead of having to keep going back like this. Professional YouTubing at its finest. Here we go. So by the time we finished the World War One era, which we decided would be 10 turns, and this is back when I used to copy Matt Lown and do montages at the end of the year. But I think these montages were actually pretty good. You see you've got the tail end of collaborative warfare, and then heading into Space Race, through Space Race, and then here we go, over into a montage of Fall of Kerbin. Still using the same glitchy editing software that somehow had like janky transitions sometimes. We got torpedoes, we had little naval battles. It was a lot more exciting than collaborative warfare. It interestingly didn't get the same reach, and I think that's because it didn't have the same number of YouTubers. Like the first episode did pretty well. Let's have a little look. How well did it do? Yeah, it's on 100,000. Still not as much as this one. I tried to emulate the thumbnail by having a naval vessel in it, but this was one I actually made with parts rather than one that looked really good because it was modeled with Kerbin side. But anyway, moving on. The World War II era is when things got really interesting. So a mod came out that added cities to Kerbin side, or Kerbal constructs more accurately, and so we ended up having urban warfare, which was really cool. We had a bunch of different mods that added tank turrets and things, and so you can see we had rules on how much armor plating you could have, the caliber of the weapons you could have, and we started having, using burn together, so you can drive them multiple vehicles at once. You've got urban warfare. Now we've got like attacking naval vessels from the air. Like we even learned how to do dive bombing and the like. Undecked trash has tipped £5. Thank you very much. The universe is made just to be seen by our eyes. Oh, little Saturn reference. Thank you. Thank you for creating something so full of awe and wonder. That's really kind of you. Thank you. We'll get into the music later, actually. We'll get into the music later. I'll try and speed up a little bit. I know we've been streaming for 45 minutes and we're not even out of Fall of Kerbin yet. But yeah, we really started to hit our stride in this World War II era. And we started to have more recognizable stuff. I mean, World War One, being trench warfare and stuff, we went more into war technology. Oh man, like the Flames mod really did make like crashing aircraft look really cool. Like, you just didn't get scenes quite this exciting in collaborative warfare. Multiple aircraft. I think this was me with my attacker, like trying to get away from Tapes pursuing fighters after bombing his ships, and it just going very dramatically wrong. Look at that. Damn, even looking back at this, I'm like, damn, this was a good series. This is a great idea. I should steal these ideas. But really a lot of effort went into the setup, like spawning all these ships. If we didn't have the mod vessel mover that let you spawn vessels in and move them around, this would not have been a feasible series to make, and that mod didn't exist. Collaborative warfare sort of era. This was back when I was actually losing the war. Tape was invading the south. He built bridges across. That was another cool thing as well. We had like supply units and stuff as well. You could build infrastructure. You could build bridges. You could build forward operating bases and the like. This is me performing an attack run on Tape's little supply unit, which he always named Eddie Stobart. Pew pew pew. And the thing is, like, KSP is bizarrely, like, insanely good for this. Like, the fact that you can design your own aircraft and vessels, etc., with accurate physics, and then, you know, put them up against each other. And quite often, Tape was better at designing planes than me, which is embarrassing as I'm an aerospace engineer now. But his aircraft always outperformed mine. I was always the tactician, and you know, I would always make sure I was attacking him with more units than he had. I would always outmaneuver him, and the fact that you could only move so far each turn sort of enabled that. But usually his tanks as well were indestructible. I remember that being a meme of the series, that you just couldn't kill his damn tanks. So he was really good at designing craft. I had some other little things, like I did a little XCOM things. I liked playing XCOM. I thought maybe I could make that a KSP thing, but it didn't work so well. It didn't do very well views-wise either. But this is also when I started doing some other stuff. So some World of Warships, some War Thunder. I started doing Let's Plays on Hearts of Iron, and those actually did pretty well. People enjoyed Hearts of Iron. I've been asked a few times to go back to that. But I've just lost interest, and you know, it was because we were doing Fall of Kerbin. I had a bit of a hyperfixation with military history. Really got interested into World War II history and the stuff that we were basing Fall of Kerbin on, because I wanted it to be accurate and to talk about real history while, you know, making the videos. Around this time, we had the collaboration station, which was the collaborative thing with Matt, Marcus House, Tape, Scott Manley, even. This was a really amazing opportunity to be given. You're supposed to put something on the station that represented what you do, but because I was most well known for warfare stuff at this time, I put a Spitfire on the station, which, you know, I tried to make like a really concise video. I tried to be funny, you know, and I put a silly thing on the station so that people would look at the later videos and be like, who on earth put that dumb thing on there? Some people accuse me of half-arsing this. That wasn't the intention at all. I wanted to make a concise video that gave a little flavor of the kind of stuff that I did, and put something silly on the space station. I remember Scott Manley himself in his following video, which came immediately after my one, just really questioning, like, who put a propeller plane of all things on a space station? I remember it confusing a few people and me messing up the RCS so I couldn't actually translate in a certain axis. You can see me really struggling to line it up here. But that was a lot of fun. That was a really cool thing that Matt and Marcus organized. Marcus, back when he actually made KSP videos instead of the news videos he makes now, which admittedly are very, very good. Very well done. Another note, the instructions were to keep the part count as low as possible because KSP's performance was so bad back in the day. Yeah, that's another fair point. Like, I wanted to make a more detailed one with the elliptic wings and everything. I think there was a hard part limit. Something like 50 parts? 50 or 100 parts. Like, there was a real limit on how much detail you could put onto something, because by the time you got that many YouTubers adding things, it was going to start getting really, really slow. These early versions of KSP, I mean, I know modern KSP isn't great, but this was before they fixed a lot of the memory leak problems. My goodness me, like, these early versions were painful. And like Fall of Kerbin, this episode here took the longest out of all of them. I believe, like, the naval battle, this is me bombing, and then when does the actual naval battle start? Oh, I think there's a really good shot here of me blowing up a... Where's the shot of me? Here we go. It's the Rapier class, the USS Lightning. I think they've got some really good hits on this. There's one, like, perfect shot of a bomb hitting a ship and the entire ship just detonating. Oh yeah, there we go. That's not the shot I was thinking of. But anyway, we've got a naval battle here, which is the last 6 minutes of the video. This one naval battle took 3 hours. Or was it more? It might have been even longer, but like 6 minutes, and this one clip. Like, this is all massively sped up. This was at maybe 10 times speed. I always speed it up until the second counter was going at the correct speed, so it looks like it's playing correctly. But this entire section with all these ships fighting and everything, I was playing at seconds per frame. And that's why the panning and stuff is so rapid. Literally, it was maybe 2-3 seconds per frame doing this. And this was before I had, a very powerful PC. Right now, I've got a PC basically built for KSP1, so a lot of this stuff is a lot less painless. And KSP Community Fixes has done wonders for KSP performance, particularly the load times. Even for All Kerbalkind now, like this mod pack used to take 45 minutes to load. I can load for All Kerbalkind now in 5 minutes, which is just incredible. And my 9800X3D probably helps with that, and the 128 gigs of RAM I have. But KSP Community Fixes and the memory leak fixes that the devs did really have made a big difference in that regard. So anyway, moving forward, I made some meme videos for April Fools. I think this was me going insane because I was revising for A-levels and stuff around this time. We've got the old penguin design here. This was the second penguin design. I don't know if I've got a picture of the first one. So I had this one, and then I had some art made based on that one. But there was an even earlier one. This one, here we go. So that was my first penguin design. So this was a stolen penguin, and I really badly drew a beard on it. So that was my first penguin there. Then we got the second penguin, which again, I just stole the design and put a beard on it. And then someone made me a design based on that. So here we go. This was Jeffrey the Sheep. He used to do my art for me for free, which was very nice of him. He was just a big fan of the channel. When was the 12 Days of Christmas video? 12 Days of Kerbal Christmas. That is still public. So that's here somewhere. So yeah, I really got into the Hearts of Iron. And I applied some of the tactical stuff to what we were doing in Fall of Kerbin. So you see, we went into sort of late World War II because there was so much tech progression. So we had early jets. We decided to add a Christmas mod to make everything snowy. We thought it'd make things interesting. We got vengeance weapons as well. And Clash of the Titans, like this was a really cool video. This was the biggest naval battle we had. And that's the thing, when it's just two of you and you're able to do lots of turns very rapidly, and we both still had lots of free time. I was in sixth form, so I had free study periods where I could do my homework, so I spent most evenings working on this. We were really able to churn videos out. And as I said, it's just the two of us, so the turns were going really quickly. Oh wow, that was a big explosion. I think that's the 18-inch rounds from the Yamato just deleting a cruiser. But you see, you just couldn't do things like this in collaborative warfare because it would have taken you, a turn for each of the individual vessels you see here. Whereas being able to launch multiple, you could have these massive set pieces, these massive dramatic battles. This is another one where it would have taken about 5-6 hours to do this battle. Sometimes I'd make quick saves and oh, there goes the battleship. Something about KSP making things out of parts made the explosions really satisfying. But yeah, as I was saying, I'd have to make quick saves and come back to these battles later because they would just drag on so long. But Beardy Armory and just the mod suite and the whole modding scene in KSP making these videos possible really was incredible. So much going on in these videos as well. Like nowadays, I'd probably split this up into multiple episodes, like the one set piece per episode, something like that. But then we come to the end of Fall of Kerbin. Like, I know a lot of people freaked out when it ended. We always planned for it to not last longer than late World War II. Like, we'd battle out in late World War II, maybe go to early Cold War if it went further than that, but we didn't want it to last forever. But thankfully, like, it came to an end, and this wasn't scripted. Like, I managed to defeat Tape on turn 30. Like, it worked perfectly. That wasn't scripted. Tape really was just that bad at warfare. We had little bonus videos, and I know we did some extra naval stuff because I defeated Tape's Navy, and we're like, well, the naval engagements are a big part of the series, so we had some little set pieces as well to just make things a bit more interesting. And again, like the focus of the series was taking the lessons from collaborative warfare and applying that to just make it more entertaining. Like, what can we do to make it more fun to watch? And I think that was a big lesson. This being my second big sort of KSP series. Well, I guess third if you count Space Race. So, taking the lessons learned, applying them, what makes it more fun for us to play and more fun for people to watch? And the answer to that is usually just a lot of rules, a lot of constraints. on what you can do, because otherwise you end up cheesing things. And I remember, like, as we made the series, we added more and more rules. Like, I remember early on, Tape found that he could snipe my tanks, like, with the arc on his rounds, so he could shoot my tanks while my tanks couldn't shoot him. So we made a rule, okay, well, that's boring to watch. Like, yeah, okay, good tactic, but that's lame to watch someone just snipe tanks from over a hill for an episode, right? So we had a rule of, okay, if the enemy tanks can't see you, and your like guard mode on your tank can't see them, like, then you can't engage, right? Which, yeah, doesn't necessarily make sense, but again, it makes more exciting video. So that's defeating Tape. This was my Nationalist Spain playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 coming to an abrupt end because the game kept crashing, and then they made an update which fixed that bug but broke the save, so I could never finish that series, which always bugged me. And then I started a new series. So we were working at the time on a new Warfare series, but in the meantime I thought I want to do a career mode series, because KSP's career mode had come a long way. This was after they added like first contract update, so you could get funds, etc. They'd updated the contract so they're more exciting, and I discovered Games Links' After Kerbin mod. It came out around this time, and I was like, oh, that's similar to the premise of this KSP series I did ages ago, which, as I said, is private now, KSP Interstellar. What if I did that properly in a career mode? And I escaped the solar system with that. So then we've got the beginning of KSP Endurance. And again, I'm doing some other Let's Play stuff like Off-World Trading Company. We'll have a little look at the 2017 montage, which is actually like pretty good. Like, it's all in time with the music and stuff. I guess I stopped doing these because I just ran out of time to make them. But I even had stuff that wasn't KSP in there. Oh, there's the shot that I was thinking of the ship blowing up. That's it. So we got this bomb coming in and just obliterating a ship and shooting its its turret just into orbit. That's one of the meme videos I did in KSP XCOM. And then heading over into Endurance. And then a first landing on one of the moons of Duna. And so that gave me an excuse to talk about space stuff, talk about, you know, what I was doing with uni, because this is around this time I was applying to university. I got into uni to do spacecraft engineering, and so I sort of started treating it. This is sort of the way that I do for All Kerbalkind now. It's when I first started doing post commentary, sort of for the entire video. Usually I would do post commentary and live, a sort of mix of that for Fall of Kerbin, but I started going to exclusively post commentary about halfway through Endurance. So we've still got a bit more Hearts of Iron 4. I also did a bit of Sins of the Prophets. Bizarrely, I'm like the biggest YouTuber that's done Sins of the Prophets videos apart from Eckhart's Ladder. Like, my Sins of the Prophets gameplay has been used in other people's videos. I remember Ultimate Halo did a video about like Halo spin-offs, and he featured my gameplay. Said, oh, thanks for Beardy Penguin for the footage. So I just had like a sudden just Leonardo DiCaprio moment. That's me. Wait a minute. So yeah, I don't know, that just did bizarrely well, Sins of the Prophets. Occasionally I do other games that would just let's plays that would do really, really well. So Hearts of Iron 4 and Sins of the Prophets. I think strategy games, I guess there's an overlap with the KSP audience. I don't know, but people got really interested in those. And then we did Kerbal Rising. So again, like the first episode of the series always does pretty well. It gets to about 100,000 views. Kerbal Rising was just way too ambitious. We were like, well, hey, Fall of Kerbin was a huge success. Let's just up everything. It sounds like you inadvertently, I can't spell, discovered artillery. Yeah. Thank you, Godessa. I'm replying to that comment late. So yeah, we were like, let's just up everything. Let's move it off into space and do it across multiple planets. It was just way too ambitious. And Beardy Armory wasn't designed for it at the time. Now, Beardy Armory now has space AI. The targeting worked in space. But Beardy Armory, as you can see with the laser pointing here, like, it really didn't work very well. Oh, this is where I got Marcus House to do some voice acting.
Have you the intellect of a giraffe?
I forgot I did that. Yeah, Marcus did some voice acting for one of... Because he had, like, neutral factions. He had to, like, conquer the solar system. And we were both conquering the solar system. But there were little neutral factions. Will you be showing the 200 sub video? How do you know about that? How do people know about this video? Brandon Port. Have I mentioned it before? Like, how do people know about that? I made a really embarrassing 200 sub video around like when I was doing KSP Interstellar. It was terrible. I don't know how people know about it. No, we're not watching that. Anyway, I digress. I forgot I got Marcus House to do some voice acting for this. Anyway, so you had to sort of conquer the solar system from these neutral factions, and we got viewers because people really wanted to participate. People wanted to join. Obviously, we couldn't let them join this series, but I was like, what if they could submit craft? So basically, I would take craft submissions, so would Tape, and I would place people's craft they submitted to me around planets that Tape was going to invade. He would place them, so we wouldn't know where the craft would be, what they would be, etc. It'd be a surprise for us, but they'd be user submitted craft. So you can see the vessels I'm fighting here. We'll get a little better view of them as our missiles are closing in. So these vessels are submitted by viewers, and so it meant people could see the things that things that they've designed show up in the series. And we got some really amazing submissions. Like, people really got into it. But as you can see, this is like the limitation of BD Armory at this point in space. Like, it used the coordinate system of the terrain to try and target stuff. And so the battles only really worked if you did them in geostationary orbit. And not every planet had a geostationary orbit, and so things just didn't really work. You can see we had some fun stuff, but again, like, we were playing this at multiple seconds a frame, and I think my final episode of it, Heart of Darkness, just broke me. Like, there's a big battle in this one. Here we go. So you can see this is how amazing, like, this was Games Links' Planet Pack. We weren't just in the stock solar system. In retrospect, we really should have just been in the stock solar system, or maybe Outer Planets mod at most. Using Games Links' Planet Pack with the number of planets in it. I think they showed a map at the beginning. We showed how we occupied them. The sheer number of planets was just overwhelming. Even like Tape and my forces never even met. We had one or two little skirmishes before we just burnt out on this series. Like, it was so much work to like create the bases on each planet, add all the defenses, add all the orbiting spacecraft. This was I think this was the Crimson Fleet, if I remember correctly. We had this massive battleship at the core of it. This was, if you couldn't tell, this was when I really got into the Expanse. You can sort of detect my interest as it goes through. I was really into military history, we did Fall of Kerbin. Really into the Expanse, we basically just did the Expanse. But yeah, like, all the setup was just too much. And this video, this is another one. This must have been like 5 seconds per frame. Like, I didn't have an amazing computer yet. I'm still on my old computer. They've got all the visual mods now. Games Links' Planet Pack. You've got all these different craft all battling. The BD Armory's not working very well. This one battle, I think, took 9 hours total. 9 hours to do this video. Well, just record the battle. Like, just unsustainable. And so it was around this time I went to uni. And once I'd gone to uni and I was joining societies, I was doing a lot of stuff every night. The amount of setup it took, we're talking like a full day just to set up all the craft and stuff ready to attack and just set up these battles before the actual battles themselves happen. As I say, it just wasn't sustainable. As cool as some of this stuff is, like the space battles and things, we did get some cool stuff out of it. It was just too much to be able to do. So this was the last episode, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I did continue with Endurance because I enjoy doing it. I was basically just playing KSP Career Mode and enjoying it and recording that, and that's why that was okay to continue. It's the same with Hearts of Iron 4. I was just having a bit of fun with it. And then that, of course, developed into Beyond Kerbal. So I continued this while I was at uni, and I worked on it predominantly while in the holidays, because particularly in the UK, you get a lot of holiday at uni. The actual term time isn't that long, So although I was really busy during term time, I'd do loads of recording when I had nothing better to do over the summer holidays, etc. And then COVID happened. So I was like, well, you know what I'd really like to do? I miss when I did collaborative series, because another reason why Kerbal Rising petered out is because I kind of lost touch with Tape. At the same time I went to uni, he left uni, he started work, and he kind of lost interest in YouTube videos. Like, if we head over to Tape Gaming, you can see that one of his last episodes was Kerbal Rising. Here we go, the home fleet. You know, these were really great fun, battling across all the different planets and everything, but there's just too much, just way too much. And so once he started work and he wasn't, didn't have the uni free time anymore, he just basically, we sort of gradually stopped talking. We're still in touch. I can still reach him if I need to, but he just lost interest in doing YouTube videos entirely, and I can't blame him. He just lost the passion for it, so just died out. Matt's got to go. Congrats on 10 years. Here's to the next 10. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for joining. And hope you liked your little cameo from 9 years ago. But yeah, as I say, that evolved into Beyond Kerbal. I sort of realized that once a series hits the 50 episode mark, no one's going to hop onto a series at the 50 episode mark. So I thought it'd be a good idea to start a new series, a sort of a soft reboot, a new jumping on point, but with all of that initial career mode stuff done and only getting onto then the really interesting stuff. That was a really good idea because Beyond Kerbal did really, really well, and it was really fun to make. I really enjoyed it. I'm still doing some Let's Play stuff at the time, particularly started doing Mars Horizon, and then, as I say, COVID happened. I had nothing better to do. I missed the collaborative stuff. I was like, I want to redo Space Race, but I want to do it right. I want to do it in Realism Overhaul, which I had never played. And I was like, well, I'm an aerospace engineer. How hard can it be? I was studying to be one, at least. Beyond Kerbal, that's when I first found you, says Karnasa. Okay, that's interesting to know. I think it's what I'm most well known for now. And it's interesting, every time I started a new series, people were like, oh, this is never going to be as good as previous so-and-so, which every person says to every YouTuber whenever they try something new. And then that series have become the new thing that I was known for, right? So I think most people know me for Beyond Kerbal now. And it's always the complete series. People know me for Fall of Kerbin because it's a complete series end to end, and they know me for Beyond Kerbal because it's a complete series end to end. It has a satisfying ending, and so people rewatch it. I still get so many views on these old videos. People just going in and rewatching them, which I find really interesting. People go and rewatch it because they have a satisfying end, so they can watch it end to end. Whereas if something hasn't finished yet or it never had a satisfying conclusion, people don't have the same impetus to rewatch something, I find. But yeah, I missed collaboration, and I wanted to do Space Race, but do it better and not as jank, and use KCT, Kerbal Construction Time and the like. So we started For All Kerbalkind. I asked a few people. I asked Shadow Zone, actually, but he didn't have the time to commit to it. I asked a lot of YouTubers that were bigger than me because I wanted to, steal their subscribers. And then someone in my Discord said, hey, have you heard of this guy called N9 Gaming? And N9 maybe had 1,000 subs at the time, so he was a bit smaller than me. And I was like, oh, okay, smaller YouTuber. Then I watched some of his content. I remember I was ill at the time. I watched his whole back catalogue on a TV, ill on the sofa, and it blew me away. Like, his cinematics, he put his own music into his videos. I was like, this is the guy. He's amazing. I can learn so much from his video making techniques, and I've stolen a lot of the cinematic sort of way I do things now from N9's videos and how creative he is with them. I mean, I'm still, don't compare to how incredible his cinematics are and his music is. But I think I've become a much better creator from collaborating with him. And honestly, like, ever since, For All Kerbalkind has been a lot of fun. But it was around this time that I had my injury. So you can see that there's a big break here between these two videos. So it's Luna, For All Kerbalkind, and this one. So this one was in December 2020. This one wasn't until May 2021. So that was when I had my back injury, which still hurts to this day. Fun fact. But I'm hopefully getting like pain injections for it soon. But I basically had a disc tear thanks to online learning and university in a bad chair and posture and yada yada yada. So that sort of affected my output. So my first video I did back, I had loads of time to learn how to use DaVinci Resolve. So that was sort of when I switched to DaVinci, and as you can see, I got sort of the pop-ups, and you can see the video editing is dramatically improved in this video. Like, because of that gap, I had a load of time to just watch tutorials. I had nothing better to do and learn how to do stuff like this. And this is really the beginning of me making somewhat educational stuff, learning how to put videos together like that. I also had time to work on my music, and so although I'd sort of briefly put some music into First Kerbal, which was a really bad cover of Outro M83 with like Muse score piano and stuff in it, people loved it though, even though I thought it was terrible. So Vostok was the first one I actually put some real effort in, and so we did a cover. Look at the janky gimbal nozzles on the... I missed that. Like, as I loaded the save, and there was a bug where if you loaded a save, it would sometimes rotate the engines. Like, the craft was fine when I launched it, but when I reloaded the save to get the cinematics, it rotated the nozzles. So, yeah, that bugs me to this day. But obviously, we did... Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And that's when I made my music channel as well. And I'm still really proud of that. And we sort of brought All Kerbalkind back in a big way. And I was worried that people would have fallen off of it because we had such a long break. But I think because we had such an explosive return to form, the views did really, really well. And that was when I made my Patreon as well. Because I previously hadn't made a Patreon because I didn't need one, right? I feel bad accepting money from people when I'd have just spent it, as pocket money. But it was around this time, having to redo years at uni because the injury and everything. Like, I was living hand to mouth and I didn't want to go into more debt. And so I opened the Patreon just being like, hey, if I don't make a Patreon, I probably won't be able to make videos as much because I'll have to take on some tutoring or something to earn some money. And then I just had such an overwhelming amount of support. And even to this day, like, the amount of patrons I have compared to how big a channel I am is insane. Like, I have such a supportive and amazing community, such a tight-knit and, like, engaged community. It's really, really wonderful. I still think your cover, Saturn by Sleeping at Last, is the best cover I've ever heard. That's really sweet of you. Thank you. I've been thinking, of course, that's in the finale, which, because I got sucked into For All Kerbal, kind of stopped making Beyond Kerbal because the save, this is a thing, the save got unstable. But I felt I owed people a finale. So the finale to that comes a little later. The finale to that is here. Yeah, I thought Saturn was just perfect. I discovered Sleeping at Last around that time, and I thought Saturn was just perfect for a finale. And I was really getting into recording music and everything at the time. And you see I was sort of getting into educational stuff as well. And this was the beginning of my move away from Let's Play stuff. I did Mars Horizon, and I said, that's going to be my last Let's Play thing. I don't really want to do that. I want to do well-edited. This is me, NASA, visiting the National Space Center. Well-edited, like KSP videos, and I want to do educational stuff. And that's when we sort of get nearer today. So we've got, some educational stuff. We've got the new penguin with the hair that actually looks a bit more like I do. And then we've got the new sort of thumbnail style and the new title style. I realized putting the episode numbers in the title just reduces the click-through rate massively because no one wants to jump on a series at episode 50. But if they get sucked into, oh, that's a cool thumbnail, that's an interesting idea, then they'll go, oh, what's this? And they'll go to the playlist. And you can just, if people want to know the order of videos, they can just look at the playlist, right? You don't need to have episode numbers in your titles. I realized the videos performed way worse if I did. And then, of course, meeting Loud for the first time. And bringing us all the way up to today. So really, that's sort of the history of the channel. There have been some blips along the way, obviously having the back injury and then returning to form there, and then moving away from this sort of Let's Play stuff. I think when Mars Horizon 2 comes out, I may well stream it. And so I've moved my Let's Play stuff over to streaming. So you can see I've got all these Juno streams. Oh, you can't actually see them in here because they're unlisted. I didn't want to absolutely. Yeah, I've got some weird playlists here. Don't mind the playlists. Juno Conquest streams. Here we go. So these are all unlisted, though the first episode isn't. And you notice things like To Boldly Go aren't in there either. So To Boldly Go was a little modded Minecraft series I did, and I made a mod pack for that. And Karnasa joined in later, but I kind of lost interest in it. And I didn't want a Minecraft Let's Play series to be sort of the first thing people saw when they arrived on my channel. I just kind of wanted to move away from that and move away from gaming Let's Play stuff onto a little bit more professional footing. And so, I am committed to finishing For All Kerbalkind. I think we're aiming for like the 1977 Mars window, and we're in 1968 now. So, with the rate we've been going, goodness me, like how long has collaborative warfare? How long has For All Kerbalkind been going? It has been going now for 4 years. Nearing 5 years, which is an insanely long time for a series. That's longer than all of my other series combined. But I'm committed to finishing it. And I think with Calvin joining us China and stuff, and also with us building mega rockets and things, they'll take a bit longer to build, and the limits on build speed. Hopefully, once we're sort of back in the saddle and Nine is back making the videos again, because he's had to take a little break from it, with the mod pack being stable as it is now. Once we're back in the saddle with it, I imagine For All Kerbalkind will last another year or two. And then that'll be that, I think, for series. I think I'll still make videos with Kerbal Space Program, but I want to move away now from series in general, like being locked into a series. I want to make more standalone videos. Things like the Venus rover video that did pretty well. Things like, talking about old video about KSP2, about nuclear fusion, about an esports contest. I want to do these one-off videos now. I've got more video ideas than I have time to do. Obviously, I have a full-time job now. I am an aerospace engineer. You've seen my progression from doing my A-levels through to university, through to now, having been an aerospace engineer for going on 2 years. And so I've got a really unique perspective and a lot of stuff I learned during my degree that I want to share, a lot of misconceptions I want to shatter. There's a lot I feel like I can contribute, because it annoys me the number of science communication YouTubers that don't know what they're talking about, and they don't credit their sources. They don't link their sources in the description. They don't use scientific references. They say things and people take it as gospel, but often they're repeating a misconception, or they are just saying something as outright false, and you don't know where they've got certain assumptions from. And so I kind of want to change that. I'd like to do a bit of a channel shift, I guess, akin to what I've seen in people like Scott Manley and Marcus House. So you'll notice a gradual shift to that. I'll keep For All Kerbalkind going, but you're going to see more videos of that kind of ilk. And I think once For All Kerbalkind is finished, I might start doing more music again. At the moment, I'm kind of tied to this series that takes up a lot of my time, but I do still really enjoy it, and I know you guys really enjoy it as well. So as long as the views still keep doing reasonably well, we'll keep making it. And I think it's been such a marathon now, it would be such a cop-out if it didn't have a satisfying ending. So I'm really committed to us ending it with a mission to Mars, or missions to Mars. Perhaps we'll do a race, perhaps it'll be collaborative. So I haven't had the chance to use them in save yet. What are you talking about? Oh, Karnasa's talking about Yoshi's changes to the mod pack. You can tell the evolution as well, because like the way I used to distribute mod packs for like Kerbal Rising for people making their craft was I would just send a zip of my game data, which just breaks all the licensing of all the mods. Whereas now I actually have a GitHub for All Kerbalkind. Et voila. And like there's actually proper install guidance from the original sources, and people are contributing to it. It's like an open source thing. So we've got Yoshi, someone from the community, contributing to it. Karnasa contributes to it as well. It's like a community project. People can change it and add to it. People want extra features, they can add them. I learned how to do that sort of through my job. How to use Git version control. I do software for aircraft now, do software for aerospace, and then I'm sort of learning things at work and in my career that I'm then applying to my personal projects, and vice versa. And same with like things I'm learning in the bands I'm in, that I've joined now, and as a musician that I want to apply to my music. Like I think before I ever release, and I will eventually, I think, release my music on the other channel, which I'll actually head to now. Here we are. I think before I release this stuff on Spotify or whatever platform, just probably distribute it through DistroKid, I would want to re-record the vocals and redo a lot of it. I know, like, most people's standards for music are pretty low on the internet. Like, people loved my original version of Outro, which had a Muse score stock sound piano in it, and people still thought it was amazing, and really not very well recorded vocals and violin. So obviously I went back and did that personally, I think, properly with this version of Outro, which I'm really happy with. I won't play it because then this stream will get copy struck. Even a cover, you sort of get half of the revenue if you do a cover of a song. But I think the one I'm most proud of still is Saturn. I think Saturn is the one I did a really nice job on, and people seem to really like it. And yeah, I think I've got a unique style as well with the music videos, with the creating the images with the sparkles, which is something, again, I learned how to do in DaVinci Resolve and then decided to just apply it to everything. But there we go. That's my sort of retrospective on my channel. As I said, I didn't used to be quite so down to earth. Or maybe I was a bit too down to earth. As I said, like, Clubs of Warfare just kind of blew up immediately. And 15-year-old me, after getting a million "Can I join?" comments, was really cynical and mean about it. There's certain things in my like YouTube back catalog I'm not that proud of. Like, I think it's this episode here of Space Race.
Beardy Penguin, and welcome.
It just has jazz music. It just has jazz music over like 90% of the video. You'd be watching through the playlist and be like, why is this just mostly smooth jazz? And that's because I made the terrible mistake of expressing political views in this video. And those are not my views anymore. This was just after Brexit happened. I said a whole bunch of very badly educated things. And that was when I really learned the lesson of stopping showing like personal parts of myself on the YouTube channel, and particularly not expressing opinions like that. Because when you express like political views in a YouTube video, you immortalize them. And even like later down the line, people coming back to that video and assuming things about me based on things that I'd said, 8 years previously. Like, you grow and you change as a person, your views shift. And so really, like, it was after that video that I realized that, well, space is the one border we all share. Let's maybe make this a really inclusive space. Around that time, I made the Discord. And then over time, I've made my Discord a very, very queer-friendly place, as I've lent much more into that sort of side of my identity as well. And it's become a much sort of more tight-knit, much more wholesome community over time. I think I had a bit more of an antagonistic community around this time because I was antagonistic. And you see it in quite a few smaller YouTubers where they're bizarrely antagonistic towards their audience. And it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I think it's because you've got that negativity bias. If you have like a few negative comments and then you just see your entire audience as that, and you see people be like, oh, it's my channel, so I'll do what I want. And you're just sitting there watching the video like, okay. Like, and that's cringeworthy to me now. But, having been there, and having realized that, apart from I say the odd thing, like admit that I'm a socialist and stuff now, apart from the odd little insight here and there, I don't share personal details about my life unless it's explanation for why I've been absent for ages, and I think that's been a learning curve as well. There's been a lot of learning, not just been in the video editing department and the video production and the video ideas and how to do decent thumbnails as well. It's been a lot of me just growing as a person in general, but also learning how to actually interact with your community, and how to have a community, right? And to sort of nurture that. What happened with tape? I never knew what was going on there. Nothing happened with tape. So I did mention it earlier, but around about this time, he finished uni as I was starting uni, so we both sort of suddenly had a lot less time. He just lost interest in making YouTube videos. He's still alive. I'm still in touch with him. I actually got a Discord server with the old collaborative warfare gang. He's still about, but yeah, he just lost interest in making videos. He just stopped making them. I remember watching collaborative warfare back when I was 7 or 8. Oh, I didn't say that. I remember people being surprised when I started that I was 15 when I made collaborative warfare. And I think, as Karnasa so aptly mentioned earlier, my voice basically sounds the same. Like, my voice broke quite early. So that's why I was confident enough doing voiceovers at that time. People thought I was in my 20s. A lot of people that were older than me were shocked and still are shocked to learn how young I am. So we need a meme where it's just two politicians arguing. Just over the top of it is a bee with Beardy's face superimposed over the top with that quote. Squirrel Slapper, I'm flying my modification of your N1 right now. I'm glad to hear people actually use the craft files on the Patreon. I think people really underestimate the value of a £1 tier on a Patreon. Most Patreons I know of start at £5 and above. So many people want to just chuck in a little amount that they won't miss, that they won't notice, but just support you. And so, I thought it would be a nice thing to do, to just have that really tiny little tier, and you get some basic stuff like my craft files and just access to stuff. And now a good chunk of my Patreon income comes from that £1 tier of so many people just wanting to support me a little bit. Which is really sweet. It's really lovely. I've got so many people that just want to give a little bit and just want to support the channel or get access to the craft files, etc. And I've had a few people be like, ha ha ha, don't you know I can just pay once and take all your craft files and unsubscribe. I'm like, yeah, that's intended. You're supposed to be able to do that. I'm glad people do use them and enjoy them though. It makes it all worth putting them on there. I was surprised when you said you were going to uni, because I had that in a couple of years. Started taking notes on career progression from you. I think I've been able to share a few things about my experience of going to university and applying to uni and what subjects to do. I mean, the thing that I always say is I'm so glad I did computer science going into aerospace engineering. It's such a huge part of aerospace engineering now. Obviously, you can do mechanical without knowing how to do computer science, but my particular interest area ended up being where spacecraft engineering meets computer science and electronics. That sort of Venn diagram there, sort of computer engineering of spacecraft, orbital mechanics, astronautics, that kind of stuff. That was what I found my sort of niche was. But ultimately, you've just got to go do what you're interested in and just follow what you enjoy. I thought I would want to go design rocket engines or something, and then it took going to uni and being pretty good at thermodynamics, but realizing I didn't want to do that as a career, to sort of really end up more interested in control systems. We crave the Rocketdyne Tripropellant. You'll have to ask N9 for that. I think it's in the All Kerbalkind mod pack, but obviously it's a US engine, so you won't find the Soviets using it. What's your thoughts on Kerbal Space program and what it's trying to do? I think it's really exciting, because I said, and I've predicted the future a few times. There's one of these Sins of the Prophets episodes where I said something along the lines of, I hope Halo Infinite opens with the Infinity getting blown out the sky. And then Halo Infinite opens with the Infinity being blown out the sky. And there's so many comments like, hey, you predicted it. Similarly, I said for ages that KSP did need a sequel. And I said KSP needs a sequel because in order to really improve on it now, you need to change a lot of fundamental stuff, like with the lessons learned. You need to start with a new foundation and build on top of it, because you can't keep bolting stuff onto KSP. You know, you need to really ideally write your own engine that can handle it better than Unity can, or at the very least, you know, start from the ground up to make sure that you haven't got all this spaghetti code, all these memory leaks, etc., and sort of rebuild it, and then maybe build new features on top of that. But I said all I want is like basically a feature parity with KSP1, but have it run really well. And that was all I was after in KSP2. I was concerned when it was announced. They had all this interstellar travel and this and that, and I was like, well, either they've thrown a lot of money at this, or this is going to run really badly. And I hate the fact that I was right about the latter. Ran so badly, and was so bad, in fact, that you know, they ended up killing it. But you know, when I first released that KSP2 video, I got a lot of backlash. Like, we can read a lot of these comments, and yeah, although the groupthink has changed now to it being a scam, and if you say anything nice about it, you're a shill or whatever. So many of these comments were like, I didn't have the issues here, I was fine, or you're an idiot. You know, some people are like, yeah, thank you, this is how I felt. But some people like really, really backlashed this video. There was some really like, is anyone surprised? Okay, this one's actually like agreeing with me. This is exactly how KSP1 went. The game ended up great. I wouldn't say it's unplayable, blah. Some people were saying, you know, that I was clickbaiting them and yada yada yada. And there's just like apples to oranges. You know, it's not comparable. KSP1 sold for barely anything. I bought KSP1 for £4 and it was made by one guy. Like, it wasn't comparable, and it was more playable than KSP2 was at launch. You know, a lot of people were shocked. A few people were supportive. But I think I showed some of the most like vicious comments in the KSP2 fixed video. Here we go. People being like, yeah, no shit, it's early access. You know, the group think of something's early access, so therefore you can't criticize it, even though that's the point of early access, right? Like, why are you hating on the game that's only been released? It's like, because that's the state the game is in. Well, you want me to review a game based on what it's going to be? Like, no, I'm telling people what it's like now, because people can buy it now. People can spend money on it. I'm telling them don't. You know, clickbaity title, unplayable, blah, you know. What? I don't know. I think the groupthink was different. You know how the internet, when things first come out, it takes a while for everyone to decide what the group opinion is. I remember the same thing with like The Last Jedi. Like, people said that they liked it and stuff, and then suddenly as the group think changes, people are like, oh, The Last Jedi was terrible and it ruined Star Wars, even though like a lot of people, the same people I remember saying they liked it when it came out. Same with KSP2, you know. I found a lot of people, the group think was because it was only really me and Carnassa that came out and said, no, this is really unacceptable, this is bad, do not buy this is unacceptable. You know, everyone else really pulled their punches, I think. And that's no shade to everyone else, like being more cautious, but, you know, they were all like, oh, I love it, it's a diamond in the rough, yeah, it needs some work, but it's great, really, you know, only focused on the positives. I was just like, no, like, it is not acceptable to launch a game like this. It's not okay to be selling this for £50. It's just not. Like, you need to do better. And I'm glad Carnassa agreed with me about it, but we were, you know, at the beginning, on the launch day, we were the outliers. We were the only ones that said that. And I had a lot of people then later tell me they really thanked me for warning them off it. Like, if it wasn't for my video and Carnassa's video, like, they might have actually bought it and really regretted it. Because it's a lot of money. You know, it's a lot of money to spend on something that a lot of people were excited about. That's why I was very keen to scare people enough into waiting for updates and to see how it progressed and then make their mind up, not just buy it because the hype train was insane. But what's funny is that, you know, the groupthink then changed to this game is a scam. Anyone who says a good thing about it is a is a shill or whatever. And so, although again, like a lot of people agreeing with me of the sentiment of this one, a lot of people are like, oh, as soon as it got cancelled, like, oh, this now aged like milk, or you're a shill, and blah blah blah, and now you're not allowed to say anything positive about it. That's just what happens when you put any opinion on the internet, right? And I think, as I said, like progression as a YouTuber and as a person, old Beardy would have labeled those opinions onto his entire community and then been really cynical and arsey in every subsequent video, whereas now it's just like, yeah, like those videos did well, they had a broader reach than most of my usual stuff. People sometimes just want to be angry and they want to just shout at a cloud, and sometimes you are that cloud as a YouTuber, and that's fine. But I find it interesting how the opinion on KSP2 shifted with time, and I think what really shifted it was how slow the updates were and how incremental the changes were, and really how unprepared the devs were for an early access model. I think that really started to take people from the denial phase of the stage of guilt into the anger stage of guilt into depression, and then now I think just acceptance as everyone goes back to KSP1 with mods. Kerbin Space Agency, to circle back to the original prompt, is doing things right. It's doing things the way that I knew they would need to do them to improve on the original, which is start with the foundation. It's all performance. Like, you just can't make a game like this be scalable in Unity easily. And then finding the game, finding the fun later. I think they've got absolutely the right approach. I am really in awe of the fact that they think they can do it for free. If they are serious about that, then I will be one of the first people to give them a significant amount of money because I believe in what they're doing. I'm going to wait and see, but I think it's in the hands of the right people. They've got the right approach to it. As soon as I saw the early previews of KSP2, I was concerned. I was seeing 10-part vessels running at 5 frames a second. I was like, they have not started from a good foundation. They are clearly building on the original code. And they said they weren't. And I said, I'm encountering the same bugs as the original. You've definitely built on the original code here. And they said they didn't. And then, of course, Shadowzone later found out that, yes, they did. They just built upon the original code. They just black boxed it and bolted stuff on top. And, of course, it collapsed in on itself. Gunnar says, funny enough, it's still my most watched long-term video. Yeah, those KSP2 videos did really well because people forget how mad the hype train was for KSP2. It was insane. Anything KSP2 up to the release date did really well. Any dev updates, whatever. Shadowzone basically built his channel on KSP2 dev updates, had a huge hit when it died, and then now is resurged again with Kerbin Space Agency updates, which is nice to see. But the death of KSP2 hit normal KSP hard as well. You can look at the popularity of the original game, and it took a huge hit too, in search terms and in concurrent players, and you'll notice the views on All Kerbalkind aren't as good as they used to be. But that's fine. I'm not going to do what some YouTubers do and go, oh, it's the YouTube algorithm, blah, blah, blah. People just aren't as interested in KSP anymore, and that's fine. A lot of people got burnt by KSP2 and they're not so interested. That's not going to stop me doing what I'm doing. People are still very passionate about what we do. I've never been one to chase trends or to do what I knew would be popular. I've always made videos that I would want to watch. This has always been a hobby. It always will be a hobby. I'm passionate about the stuff I'm making. I just want to make stuff that I would enjoy, if that makes sense, and just make the best videos I can make. I'm not a businessman. I'm not trying to churn videos out. I've never sort of had my life come second to the channel. Life has always come first. I've said this again and again. I've got a music career. I've got an aerospace engineering career. I've got friends. I do stuff. I go places. I travel. There's a whole side of my life that people don't know about, and I'd like to keep it that way. This is a part of who I am, and it's an important part of who I am. It's an important creative outlet for me. But if someone suggests some plans for a weekend and I was planning to do a YouTube video, the YouTube video will always come second to it, right? And I think that's the right way to do things to avoid burnout. I've seen so many YouTubers burn out. I mean, Tape Gaming burnt out on YouTube. He didn't enjoy it anymore. I think that's a good way to keep it as something that I enjoy doing, something I'm passionate about doing. Yeah, some series will take, like For All Kerbalkind will probably take 7 years to be finished, but that's fine. You know, I think I'm going to be really proud of it as a complete end-to-end series. When it is finished, I think it's going to be something that, you know, I can be really proud that I've achieved, you know, as a creative thing that I've actually created, right? Steam community was warning us for years this would happen the second the IP was bought for Take-Two. Yeah, no KSP2 for All Kerbalkind. No. I think I even said in some early videos, I was like, yeah, if it's a sequel series to For All Kerbalkind, it will probably be in KSP2. Ha ha ha. That aged like milk. Funny, funny, funny. Are you going to do anything special for Pride? Probably not. I usually change the Discord banner. But other than that, I don't do any dedicated videos for it. You know, I mention it. It's a part of who I am, but I don't need to make anything special for it. I'm not so great at making videos for milestones. Exemplified by the fact that, you know, I'm doing a little stream for my 10-year anniversary rather than a massive dedicated montage or something. I'm not great at hitting deadlines or really even imposing deadlines on myself. I think I've found that I don't do well imposing internal deadlines. I want to work on things when I feel like working on them, and you know, I think that way, as I said, I keep it as something I enjoy and it's something I won't burn out on. I think if I start imposing deadlines on myself for what is effectively a hobby, I'm just stressing myself out for no reason. You know, work is stressful enough, life is stressful enough without imposing arbitrary deadlines on myself. Like, ultimately, really, as much as it's a meme of where's my episode Beardy re, I have a very patient audience. Like, the audience is always still there when I make a new episode of For All Kerbalkind, so I'm not really concerned about things taking a little longer sometimes or having to have a little hiatus, like at the moment, you know, N9's just busy with life stuff. He doesn't have time to make For All Kerbalkind at the moment, so we're making shorter episodes and making meme compilations, working on the mod pack, etc. Anything you can tell us or tease for All Kerbalkind? I've got like the next couple episodes planned out, so you're going to see the UR700 in the next video at long last. It won't be a Pentaborean powered one though, and hopefully we'll have a lunar space station. We'll have a mission to that station. Have our final N2 mission to the moon, and then we'll definitely be doing some UR700 direct descent, LK700 lunar landings. You might see a mobile outpost, like a lunar train concept kind of thing. Let's get some just pretty shots of the Foxbat flying around while I'm chatting about this stuff. Here we go. So we'll definitely see some stuff like that, just sort of next generation lunar exploration, just building towards that lunar base, really. You will see Spiral at some point, but that's a work in progress in the mod pack right now, so I wouldn't want to feature it in the series until that was ready. Obviously, you've got China joining as well, which is really exciting, and Calvin is working on his video at the moment, so you should have that in the next month or so. Fingers crossed. So Calvin is working on like his first video introducing his space program, building his space center with Kerbal constructs. Then he'll have his first episode up to his first orbital launch, akin to Karnas's first episode, in the next sort of month or two. That's all the real future stuff I can say for All Kerbalkind. That's as far forward as I have planned. As I said, we're sort of aiming for 1977 Mars window, and I think after we launch those missions in 77, that we'll just follow those missions to their conclusion, and then that will be the series finish. I'll probably record a song for it. I know Chris and Trent, Karnasa, and Nine are musical as well, so you'll probably see maybe a cover of Is There Life on Mars, you know, something like that, or Starman perhaps. It's got to be something David Bowie with all three of us featured in it. That could be a lot of fun. I don't know if Calvin's musical at all. It would be cool if he was involved somehow as well. I think Karnas has almost finished his next episode, though I don't think it's coming out today. It might come out next weekend. My next episode should be out by the end of this month, but I've been traveling. I've going all over the place. I've been traveling a few different places. I've taken a whole bunch of leave in one go, so I don't have many free weekends at the moment. And because I'm so far ahead of where N9 is anyway, I wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, you should see my next episode. It should be before the end of June. As I said, just taking a little break because I'm going traveling. As I said, I'm so far ahead of N9 that I'm not really too bothered about that right now. Can't believe you doxed me again. Your name is very public, Karnasa. Like, it's on the GitHub, man. Mark says he'll sub in for Calvin. Okay, sure. I think that kind of ruins the point of having the four of us do a song together, but sure. So, I've got a few video ideas, actually, I might talk to you guys about. And then we'll bring this stream to a close at the 2-hour mark at the absolute maximum. I will turn this into a little video, though, a shortened video. Let's have a little look. If I can find my video ideas. I have them written somewhere. I think I might have transferred them to my phone, actually. Let's have a little look. So this is what I meant when I said that I'm moving away. Well, I have moved away from Let's Play stuff, but and I know people have been asking about the Juno New Origin streams. I might bring those back. I would like to get back into it. It's just having time. You know, I've got more commitments of an evening now, so I don't really have a free evening regularly in the week where I can do them. And work has got quite intense. You know, I keep getting promotions faster than I know what to do with them, so I keep getting more and more responsibility. The days are getting long. By the time I get home, I do long days, 8 to 6. You know, I just want to collapse and read a book. Again, it comes back to the, if I don't feel like doing a video, I won't do a video. I used to push myself hard to do it, and as I said, like, I ended up stressed and not sleeping very well because I was putting stress on myself when I didn't need to be. I've got a much more sustainable work-life balance now. But yeah, I've got videos about like addressing misconceptions about space debris. I'm really interested, and I wonder if this will do well, in doing like an alternate history engineering series. I was thinking something along the lines of calling it like Apollo almost looked very different, and talking about like the D2 concept and all the different concepts that could have been the Apollo spacecraft and the different proposals. You know, Soyuz could look very different. You know, I'll do a video about the Soyuz train concept, which, you know, became Sever, etc. And the Zond spacecraft perhaps as well. The shuttle, you know, there were different proposals from different companies. There's a Rockwell shuttle design. Then I've got a few different things like how climate change affects space debris. Yes, that's actually a thing. The international Apollo mission that never happened. Like, Kennedy almost cancelled Apollo in favor of a joint international mission with the Soviet Union. Well, what would that look like? You know, doing videos of that ilk, using KSP, the mod pack I've created, you know, with Realism Overhaul and everything, and all the visual mods to do cinematics to tell that story and talk about the engineering of sort of alternate history stuff. I'm really obsessed with For All Mankind. I really love alternate history in general. You know, and that a lot of that has found its way into For All Kerbalkind, but I want to do dedicated videos to some of these concepts because I found out about them. They're interesting enough. I've got so many little anecdotes about like what might have been from the Soviet space program because I've got this book. This was like an impulse buy for the Moon and Mars of All Division N1 reference guide. It also includes loads of stuff about the UR700, all the different design bureaus and mission proposals. It even has the like flyby spacecraft, the TKS spacecraft, the TMK that was going to go to Mars and Venus potentially. There's a whole lot of material in there that I think people don't know about, and it would be interesting to do videos about that. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. Just making videos about the some lesser known aspects of space history, and I think people might find that really interesting and do it properly because I'm actually an aerospace engineer, and I actually have resources and sources, and I do scientific referencing properly. I don't just read stuff on Wikipedia and limit the scope of my videos to what's easily findable on the internet, as you find a lot of sort of bigger science communication YouTubers actually do. And I've gone off, you know, some people like that, which I really liked as a kid, but I watch their videos now, I'm just like, this is low effort. You know, I feel like this is just a summary of a Wikipedia article, and I appreciate people like that for making me aware of certain things. But as I become more well versed in a lot of these topics, and I see people repeating the same misconceptions and stuff again and again and again, you know, it's usually like it's people like Kyle Hill or Alexander the OK who shatter misconceptions that have been repeated 1,000 times because they actually go and talk to people. They actually go read archives. You know, they don't just repeat the same story that one person created and then everyone since has just repeated because it got put on the Wikipedia article. You know, what was that N1 book called? It's on Amazon. You can buy it. It's just called N1, a reference guide to the Soviet super booster program and its reach beyond the moon, by Matthew Johnson. There you go. Looks like that. This is the 3rd edition. The other ones, like the 2nd edition, added all the UR700 and extra stuff, and it was so big it was 2 volumes. The 3rd edition, they scaled down a lot of the photos and stuff so they could actually fit it all into one tome. It's not an amazing read in that it's like full of grammatical errors. They clearly didn't have an editor. It's made by multiple people. You know, it's a little bit of a mess, but it's such an incredible one-of-a-kind resource for so much of this information, so many of these pictures, so many of these drawings, and all of the Nick Stevens graphics, CGI models of the N1 and stuff. It's really just a go-to English language resource for a lot of this stuff, particularly as a lot of that's not available anymore thanks to world events. You can't go and find a lot of those original primary sources. So yeah, if you're not really interested in this stuff, it would be a snooze. And as I said, it's a bit of a mess. It has grammatical errors, spelling mistakes and stuff in it. But for me, I've just been in my natural habitat reading it. I'm really enjoying it. Kanasa says, gotta go. Says we're pretty much done here anyway. Yeah, we are. See you, Kanasa. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you in the chat, man. And nice for everyone to join. And to join me on this little walk down memory lane, as I said. Unless anyone has any other questions, we'll probably bring this to a close. Bowles says, Beardy, you did such a good job on Everybody Wants to Rule the World. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Perhaps a channel on your Discord with a list of good engineering channels, like the Book Club. I don't know. I feel like a recommending channel would just turn into people recommending their own channels. But if you want to know the kind of people that I watch, Alexander the OK, I really like Kyle Hill as well. I still like Alternate History Hub. I could look down my subscriptions actually on the left side, but I just kind of forget to subscribe to people. So forget to unsubscribe from people. So I think a lot of people here are people that I don't really watch anymore. But yeah, those are my big obsessions at the moment. I mean, really just everything by Alexander the OK. Ordinary Things is also really good. Real Engineering is still great. He's always been great. And then basically anything that Amy from Vintage Space does. She's just done like a massive documentary on why we haven't been back to the moon, which is incredible. Vintage Space has been and still is incredible. Yeah, and then of course anything by Mustard usually. You know, not all of the big ones are like I was sort of generalizing earlier. You know, Mustard, Real Engineering, like basically anyone with a Nebula channel is usually pretty great. Corsaro says, I'm a fan of Alexander the OK's, but thanks for pointing out Kyle Hill and Ordinary Things. I have an interest in aerospace. I'm not in that sphere. Kyle Hill's less aerospace. He's usually nuclear engineering. He's a mechanical engineer by trade. He talks about nuclear power a lot. If you want aerospace stuff specifically, I think Alexander the OK is probably my favorite. Yeah, nobody else sort of jumps out at me for aerospace stuff. But I want to end up doing stuff more akin to what he's doing. I think we just got to get rid of the shackles of For All Kerbalkind first. You know, I committed to this series. I'm glad we didn't just stop at the moon. Although part of me sometimes does wish, maybe we should have packed it in there. But we just got excited because we were at the peak of our popularity and we wanted to keep going. And I'm glad we did. We've done some cool stuff like Mission to Venus and post-Apollo, post-moon landing stuff. I think we can get to Mars, but by Mars, like, it's definitely going to be time to end it. People are like, no, continue forever. But by the time we get to Mars, like, it slows to a crawl. Like, if we were going to do any outer planet stuff, like, it takes so long to get there, you know, to find stuff to do and to build in the meantime. It would just be dull. And so if we were going to go further, we'd do like a sequel series, I imagine, where you start on Mars, like Happy Valley style, and launch, you know, things from Mars, explore the asteroids, explore the outer planets. But I am not going to commit to doing that because I doubt I'll want to by the time we get there. If someone else wants to do that, you have my full blessing. But, you know, something that it does amuse me. I don't want to laugh at like smaller creators, but I had so many people when I was doing collaborative warfare claim that they could do it better. Like, I'm going to involve everyone who wants to join and I'm going to get videos out every week. And I had maybe 10 to 20 imitators like that. None of them made it further than turn 2. Like, most people start a series like this because they like the series. And then when they start making it, they realize they comprehend just how much work it is. And I think because of its cinematic nature, people appreciate how much work goes into All Kerbalkind a bit more. But I think because it's in Realism Overhaul, which is really intimidating to a lot, people do appreciate quite how much work does go into it. But I've sort of changed my focus recently because of how much effort goes into it behind the scenes. Of really, if I spend ages developing one craft, I'm just going to dedicate an episode to that craft now, and trying to sort of stretch it out a bit more. Because I've been cutting a lot of footage to get episodes down to 25 minutes. Like, well, if people want more, instead of trying to work faster, why don't I just let things breathe a bit more? If I spend an entire weekend designing the UR700, well, let's dedicate an entire episode to that first mission of the UR700, right? And I think just making more frequent videos out of the same amount of content, and that's really like a step I've only taken the last episode, but I think I'll be doing that in the near future, hopefully releasing more regular uploads with single bursts of recording. Just waiting for the Beardy called Amateur Rocketry Association to send rockets past the Kármán line. You do not have any encouragement from me to go set off explosives in your garden, but if you do, please do post the videos on the Discord. I have hours of footage laying around, can't be able to edit it because of the load times, can't be able to record more. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, common things we all encounter, right? I'm glad, as I said earlier, KSP Community Fix exists, and I have a really beefy PC now. The nice thing about PC upgrades is I can actually set them against my taxes because they're business expenses for this YouTube channel. So basically get a 40% discount on anything I buy. So I've got a really beefed up PC now, so making for All Kerbalkind is really enjoyable. The performance is actually pretty good. I don't have to worry about that so much anymore. That was a real kicker with like Kerbal Rising, for All of Kerbin, etc. that made it take ages and it wasn't fun to play. At least for All Kerbalkind, it is enjoyable to play. You know, we're still playing Realism Overhaul, career mode, right? The RP1. We're just doing some shenanigans, adding some cinematics, and making it more enjoyable for the viewer, but I am actually enjoying just playing the game and doing cool stuff still. And I think that's why we're happy continuing it as long as we have, because it is fun to make. And I think its unique advantage over the Warfare series is that because we're using Kerbal Construction Time and we're each in our own save files, we can play concurrently. Like, we can all be working on videos at the same time. Even though the releases are staggered now, I used to have them released at the same time to guarantee we were working on them, but we've staggered them now so people don't have the sudden bunch of videos to watch in one go. We found that the view numbers were lower when we released videos that are basically competing with themselves. So we stagger the releases now, but we can all be working on videos at the same time, and that just makes things work so much better. Because not everyone's going to have free time at the same time, right? And sometimes when someone needs to go on a hiatus, like N9 at the moment, well, I can just take a bit more time of my episodes, work on the mod pack, and I can still be working on it even while someone else is absent. You can't get too far ahead in game time, but you can get a little bit out of sync, and it's not too big of a deal. Did you want to know that it is not possible to make a rocket with a Pepsi bottle, a bike valve, and duct tape? Okay, well, I mean, I know that now. Doing something without guidance is blazing a trail, whether it's to help people or to jail does depend. We're all talking about launching rockets still. Yoshi says, I'm bringing back my side project for recreating the classic RP1 experience in a stalker-like setting, and I'm taking heavy inspiration from fact development now for it. Oh, it's nice to know that people take inspiration from me in more ways than one, actually. I mean, I've had so many people tell me that they have gone into their careers, or they've got an interest in aerospace engineering because I've gone into it, and that's one of the nicest things anyone can say, honestly. It makes it all worth it. For that kind of thing, you know, my inspirations were people like Scott Manley and Macy Dean, as I mentioned. But I've always been interested in this kind of stuff. I think it's just playing KSP that showed me that I am not stupid. Like, I am intelligent enough to understand orbital mechanics, and that was the kick I needed to realize it was an attainable career for me. Because I was always bottom set maths and stuff in school, which tends to surprise people. You know, I didn't go into engineering, same as most engineers, because I liked maths. If you like maths, you do mathematics. You go into engineering because you can get by with the maths, but really you're interested in making cool stuff. And, you know, as long as you've got that drive, that's all you really need to succeed, I think. Just got to have that passion. Same goes for YouTubing. Just got to stick to it. As I said, I think I might take some weeks off of work to churn out some of those educational videos that I've just had in my mind for ages. I really want to get them made. Like I've got those creative ideas knocking around. I need to get them like written down, get the scripts done, get those videos out there. Like getting this Venus rover video out was such a Herculean effort, but I'm so proud of it. It did really, really well, at least for my channel. I want to get a few more of those done, and I'd really like to really push through and get For All Kerbalkind finished, ideally within a year. I would like to get it finished by this time next year. It's probably not realistic that we'll manage that, but with the bigger rockets we're building and stuff, maybe if we really work at it, we can get it finished. Because I would like to, as I said, give it a satisfying conclusion, rather than just have it poodling along forever. So fingers crossed, nobody gets hit by a bus or something, and it suddenly has a really unsatisfying final episode. I would like to organically actually get to that Mars landing, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thank you everyone for joining me for this 2-hour little walk down memory lane. I'll probably do a highlights video at some point, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you for watching, all of you. Thank you for joining in and for asking questions. Venus Rover video is a monthly rewatch. That's very nice of you to say. I'm really glad people responded to that video, because it was so much effort went into it, not just into the video itself, but obviously the project. So I'm glad that people loved it and people were impressed by it, and even went and read the report. Like a few thousand people went and read the report. Bunch of nerds. Anyway. Bye everyone. Thanks for joining, and thanks for 10 years. 10 years, crikey. Should really have more subscribers after 10 years, shouldn't I? But there we go. This comes from, as I said, making the videos I want to make, and just doing what I want to do, treating it like a hobby, not, you know, burning myself out on it. And that's why I think we've got a few good years yet to go. So here's to another 10. Fingers crossed. I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.